Hi, I'm Christopher Dunnigan. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge Vitre large linear LED pendant. This is the 139661. Beautiful fixture with beautiful glass we'll talk about in just a little bit. When we get into the height of the fixture body, that's going to be independent of the rods that it's hanging from. It's coming in at 15.6. It's basically going to be the bottom of the glass to the top of that glass, and then 51.9 inches long as far as left to right. So you can call it the width if you want. It's almost 52. 5.3 inches in depth, and then the overall height, that's the distance from the bottom of the fixture, which is going to be the bottom of that glass, to the actual ceiling itself, and that's how we measure things. You have a pretty good range, 27.3 to 57.3. If you need yours to be longer than 57.3, drop me a quick email. Say you're looking at the 139661. Tell me a solid number of what you're trying to achieve from the ceiling to the bottom of that glass, and then I will take your email, send it to Hubbardton Forge's customs department where it comes back. We can do pretty long. I can do almost 2 stories, so you don't be afraid to ask. There's a lot of things we can do here because these are made here in Vermont, just around the corner from us. So it's good to know those things. Add just a little bit of time and money. Let's get into a lot of the little details on this. So this is 35 pounds all in. You're going to want to talk to your installer just to let them know that. It's going to hang from a normal junction box, but I'll mention more about this in a little bit. Canopy up in the ceiling is 5.3 inches by 14.8. It's about that thick. It is holding a driver and a transformer because it's going to transform your line voltage in your house or your building down to low voltage to those LEDs. And why don't we mention on the LEDs how these LEDs are going to work. So you basically have a frame that's holding all the glass pieces, and they're sitting inside a frosted glass diffuser. There's a row of LEDs on one of the long sides. There's a row of LEDs on the other side. They're shooting light at each other through that diffuser. So when they hit that diffuser, it pushes light up, pushes light down. It basically bathes those pieces of glass like they're fine art. So it's a great way to do this kind of thing. Okay, let's moving on a little bit. Why don't we talk about the installations instructions sheet, because that tells us a lot of things we want to know. If you're on the page for this fixture on Handmade in Vermont, look over that side of the screen. Midway down, you're going to see a link. It's going to say click here for installations instructions PDF. So open that up for me, because there's going to be a lot of things on there that we can kind of touch on here. One of those is going to be, there's going to be a chart, and on that chart, which is on that page, it's also on the page for this on Handmade Vermont, so look at it there too. It's going to show you what combinations of which of these rods you're going to use to get to those overall heights listed on that chart. So Hubbardton has a system of rods that screw together. It's very simple, very elegant, very almost seamless looking. You're going to be getting 6 of the 12-inch. You're going to get 2 of the 6-inch. You're going to get 2 of the 3-inch. And then the little connectors, oops, you're dropping things here. The little connectors are these little threaded pieces that go between it. So you'll see that on the parts list. That's going to be on the installations instructions PDF. This is slope ceiling adaptable to 45 degrees in one direction only. If you're going to be using the slope, it's really important to send me information about that, images and drawings, whatever you got going on, so I can see what you're going to be doing with it and if it's going to work in your situation as is. There's a 50-50 chance it'll be fine the way it is. However, we also can do custom versions if it's going to be going up the slope and not across the slope. But send me information about that if you're doing a slope. Okay? Going back to these again. Let's talk about how to put it together. Very simple. I usually put these things on a table. I take everything off the table. I put a blanket down. I will put the part that has the wires and the LEDs down at one end. The glass on this is not going to be going on until it's all installed. So put the glass off to the side for a little bit in a safe place. You're going to be figuring out which of the pipes you're going to need according to the chart we talked about a second ago. You're going to put those little parts down in a row, and then you're basically going to feed those wires through the parts. So through a connector, through a pipe, through a connector, through a pipe, and eventually you're going to exit that canopy up on the ceiling. And then you're basically just going to screw them together. It's an incredibly easy way to do this. So when you do it, you'll notice that the seam, like I said, is just super tight and beautifully engineered. You can barely even see a line. It's very elegant that way. Okay, moving on. Why don't we talk about that glass again? So the glass is this slump glass. It's got a bit of a abstract white swirl to it. It's made in Wallingford, Connecticut, which is great because we like to use local stuff. We're in Wallingford, Vermont, which happens to be a place in Vermont that was founded by people from Wallingford, Connecticut, which they came from Wallingford, England, so bit of a line there. So anyway, the glass is really beautiful. If you ever get a chance, you can always visit these studios. There's studios in Vermont that do glass for Hubbardton Forge, and this one's in Wallingford, Connecticut, like I said. Okay, moving on. Why don't we talk about what's going on as far as light coming out of this. You can get a lot of light out of this fixture. It's going to be using 57 watts of electricity coming from that transformer above, coming down to those LEDs. It's going to produce 2,530 lumens, which is a ton of light. You can use this over a kitchen island because it'll provide nice task lighting like what we have on our table here. So remember, out of that 2530, half is going to be going up. It's going to hit your ceiling and bounce around the room. That's your ambient light, and half is going to go down. That is your task lighting, so there's quite a bit there. The color of the light is 3000 Kelvin. That's what we like to use in our showroom. That's the light that's coming down on my hands right now. So that's this 3000 Kelvin warm white, soft white LEDs above us that we like to use here. It mimics an incandescent glow, so it's not going to be overly yellow, but it's also not going to be that blue-white light you see from LEDs that's kind of like daylight. It's called daylight, but it's a cold bluish white light. That's not what we're using. We're using that warm white, soft white on this fixture. It's also a dimmable fixture, of course, because it does provide a lot of light. Tell your installer you're using a dimmable LED, so they put the correct dimmer on the wall for you. Let's get into metal finishes now. If you are on the HandmadeInVermont.com website, look over in the red tabs with the pictures in them over there. You're going to see a Finishes Help Guide tab. Open that up for me. It's going to be a video there of me talking to you guys about the differences in Hubbardton Forge finishes, how they can look on different types of forging. I'm going to be referencing a chart just down below. So scroll down a little bit. You're going to see a chart. You can click on that chart. So you can click on dark smoke. You can click on soft gold. Doesn't matter. Big page will pop up showing you lots of different things in that finish. You can go back to the chart and you'll notice there's letters A's on them, letter B's on some of those things, and that's going to be showing you this range of variants that you can expect to see on different translucent finishes, but I'll talk about all of that in the video, okay? Okay, showroom. Our showroom in Vermont has over 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures. This is the biggest showroom in the world of Hubbardton Forge. No other showroom is like this. Hubbardton Forge doesn't even have their own showroom. They use this one. What's on display? We have a great tab on that. In those same red tabs, you're going to see a What's on Display page. So open that up. It's going to show you everything we have on display, and including which finish, which shade, all of those things, and what kind of glass it's on there. We're open every day except Sunday, 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have an amazing clearance center. Clearance center stuff is 75% off MSRP. It's returns, discontinued stuff, showroom samples. You have to come here to use it. Can't call us or email us about it, but it's definitely worth coming in to look at if you're in Vermont. Plus you want to use the showroom anyway because there's just so much great stuff here to see. Our number in Vermont, 802-446-2400. You can email us 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Love to answer emails, and it's sales@HandmadeInVermont.com. So when you order from HandmadeInVermont.com, shipping is going to be free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. No tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont. And we're the only dealer with 90-day returns, no restocking fee. Nobody else does that. Some larger items are going to be non-returnable. It's going to be really important that you are looking at the fixture on that page and kind of scroll down under the description. It'll tell you if that is the case. And that's usually for really big, giant, huge fixtures, mostly that go out on pallets. Okay, that's it. Rush program. Let's talk about that. So rush program, Hubbardton Forge generally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to go out the door. That's production time before your transit time. You always have to add that on too. We offer a rush program that takes you from that 3 to 4 weeks down to a little under 2 weeks. It's a very small addition per line item. So if you have like 1, 2, 3 items, like let's say 3 or 4 outdoor sconces, and they're all the same size and they're all the same finish, that's one line item. So it's very inexpensive to rush those kind of things. Don't be afraid to email us and ask about that. Okay, so that's really it. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. We would love to see you in our showroom sometime. And thanks for stopping in.